I want to talk to you tonight about something that does not announce itself with trumpets. Something that does not need permission to enter a room. Something that does not knock before it changes the temperature of the air. I want to talk about power that lives quietly in the chest, that walks softly in the body, that looks like calm but feels like thunder to those who stand too close. I want to talk about what happens when your presence is stronger than most people are prepared to face. There are people who spend their lives trying to be louder, brighter, more impressive, more visible. And then there are people who do not try at all, who simply arrive as they are, and the room rearranges itself around them. If you have ever walked into a place and felt eyes lift without knowing why, if you have ever been misunderstood simply for being still, if you have ever been accused of things you never said, then you may already know what I am speaking of. You may carry an aura that does not beg to be seen, yet cannot be ignored. Some people will tell you that power looks aggressive, that strength must shout, that confidence must explain itself. But there is another kind of strength, older and deeper, the kind that does not need witnesses to exist. It is the strength of a person who knows who they are even when no one is clapping. It is the strength of a person who has survived becoming themselves. And that kind of strength can unsettle those who are still running from their own reflection. When your aura is powerful, it does not mean you are perfect. It does not mean you are without fear or doubt or pain. It means you have sat with yourself long enough to stop apologizing for taking up space. It means you have learned how to stand without leaning on approval. And for many people, that is terrifying. You see, not everyone is comfortable in the presence of truth that breathes. Not everyone knows what to do with a person who does not perform for acceptance. Not everyone feels safe around someone who listens more than they speak, who sees more than they reveal, who does not rush to explain themselves. A powerful aura does not chase, does not beg, does not prove. It simply is. And that ease can feel like a mirror held too close to the face. One sign that your aura is powerful is that people project onto you. They assign you motives you never claimed, emotions you never expressed, intentions you never carried. They will tell stories about you that say more about their inner weather than about your behavior. You will notice that some people decide who you are without ever asking, without ever listening, without ever sitting long enough to find out. This happens because your presence activates something unresolved in them. When a person has not made peace with themselves, they often make war with those who remind them of what they are avoiding. Another sign is that your silence is often misunderstood. You may speak gently, or not much at all, and still be described as intimidating. You may mind your business and still be accused of arrogance. You may simply observe, and others will say you are judging. This is not because you are doing something wrong. It is because stillness is uncomfortable for people who rely on noise to escape their own thoughts. When you are comfortable being quiet, when you do not rush to fill every gap with words, you force others to sit with themselves. And not everyone enjoys that seat. A powerful aura often attracts respect before friendship. People may admire you from a distance, watch you closely, measure themselves silently against you. Some will want to be near you, but not too near. They may circle you with curiosity and caution, unsure whether your light will warm them or expose them. This can feel lonely at times because connection comes slower, more carefully, more intentionally. But understand this: shallow bonds are not meant for deep waters. You are not here to be consumed quickly. You are here to be known slowly by those who are willing to show up fully. Another sign is that you disrupt comfort without trying. Your questions may feel too honest. Your boundaries may feel too firm. Your way of seeing things may not fit neatly into familiar boxes. You do not have to raise your voice to challenge the room. Your very presence does it for you. People who benefit from things staying the same may find you inconvenient. People who prefer surfaces over substance may find you exhausting. But progress has never been born from comfort alone. Growth often begins with discomfort, and your aura may be carrying the invitation to grow. You may also notice that people either open up to you deeply or pull away completely. There is rarely a casual middle ground. Strangers may tell you their life stories, their griefs, their secrets, as if something in you feels safe enough to hold them. Others may avoid you, not because you have harmed them, but because they sense you will not tolerate masks for long. A powerful aura invites truth, and truth is not everyone's chosen language. Some people are fluent in pretending, and they know you will hear the accent. Another sign is that you feel called to protect your energy. You may need more solitude than others. You may feel drained after certain interactions without knowing why. This is not weakness, it is awareness. When your presence is strong, people pull from it, consciously or unconsciously. They lean on it, test it, feed from it. Learning when to step back, when to say no, when to rest is not selfishness. It is survival with dignity. You cannot pour endlessly and remain whole. Even the ocean respects the shoreline. And then there is the sign that is both gift and burden. You cannot shrink for long. You may try at times to dim yourself to fit into rooms that feel too small, to soften your truth to keep the peace, to make yourself more palatable so others feel comfortable. But something in you will eventually resist. Your body will tighten. Your spirit will ache. Your sleep will grow restless, because you were not made to live in halves. Your aura does not survive on permission, it survives on authenticity. Let me tell you this plainly, because someone needs to hear it without decoration. Not everyone who feels uncomfortable around you is your enemy, and not everyone who praises you is your ally. Some people will love the way you make them feel seen. Some will resent the way you make them feel exposed. Neither response is your responsibility to manage. Your work is not to edit yourself into something easier to digest. Your work is to remain honest in a world that often rewards performance over presence. There will be moments when you question yourself, when you wonder if you are too much, too intense, too serious, too quiet, too different. In those moments, remember this: the same sun that melts wax hardens clay. Your aura does not change its nature based on who stands before it. It reveals. And what it reveals depends on what the other person is made of. Do not confuse rejection with incompatibility. Do not confuse isolation with failure. Some paths are narrow because they are sacred. Some lives are quiet because they are focused. Some people are misunderstood because they refuse to lie about who they are. Power that comes from self-knowledge does not always look friendly, but it is honest. And honesty has never needed unanimous approval. If your aura is powerful, you may have learned early how to observe before you speak, how to read the room without announcing your conclusions, how to hold your ground without drawing blood. You may have learned these things through hardship, through being unseen, through being told to be smaller, through having to become your own witness. That learning did not come cheaply. Do not give it away lightly. Understand this as well. Your power does not require constant expression. You do not need to prove it by dominating conversations or collecting admirers. Real power is felt, not forced. It is in the way you listen without interrupting your own knowing. It is in the way you walk away from what dishonors you, even when staying would be easier. It is in the way you speak truth without cruelty and set boundaries without apology. There will be seasons when you feel out of place, when the world seems too loud and too rushed and too hungry for spectacle. In those seasons, remember that depth often feels lonely in shallow environments. You are not lost, you are simply ahead of the noise. Find others who value substance, who understand silence, who respect boundaries, who are not threatened by strength that does not shout. They exist, even if they are few. And when you find yourself standing alone, do not rush to fill that space with doubt. Solitude can be a teacher. It can show you who you are when no one is watching, when no one is reacting, when no one is reflecting you back to yourself. A powerful aura is sustained by inner alignment, not by external validation. Tend to that alignment. Protect it. Feed it with rest, with honesty, with creativity, with compassion. I want you to know this as you leave tonight. Your presence is not an accident. The way you affect rooms, the way you stir feelings without trying, the way you refuse to disappear even when it would be convenient, all of this has meaning. You are not here to be easily consumed. You are here to be deeply encountered. Some will misunderstand you, let them. Some will distance themselves, let them. Some will try to dim you, do not hand them the switch. Your aura is not too much, it is simply more than some people are ready to face. And that is not a flaw. That is a calling. Stand in who you are. Breathe in your own legitimacy. Walk gently but firmly through this world, knowing that power does not always roar. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it watches. Sometimes it waits. And when it speaks, it does not ask for permission. When I say that your aura challenges comfort without raising its voice, I am speaking about a kind of power that does not come with noise, not with force, not with performance, not with spectacle. I am speaking about a presence that does not argue, does not compete, does not push, and yet still moves everything in its path. It is the kind of presence that does not need to explain itself, because explanation is for doubt, and this kind of energy does not come from doubt. It comes from knowing. It comes from alignment. It comes from a deep inner stillness that cannot be shaken by surface chaos. Some people believe disruption must look loud. They believe change must look dramatic. They believe challenge must come with confrontation. But there is another kind of disruption, quieter, deeper, more unsettling, more permanent. It is the disruption that happens when someone walks into a space and refuses to participate in the lie that keeps everyone comfortable. Not with rebellion, not with accusation, not with superiority, just with truth, just with presence, just with being whole in a room full of fragments. Your aura challenges comfort because you do not need to perform for belonging. You do not beg for approval. You do not twist yourself into shapes that make other people feel safe while you feel empty. You sit inside yourself fully. You stand inside yourself fully. You breathe inside yourself fully. And that alone is disruptive in a world built on masks. People grow comfortable inside patterns, even painful ones. They grow comfortable inside dysfunction. They grow comfortable inside dishonesty. They grow comfortable inside pretending. Comfort is not always peace. Sometimes comfort is just familiarity. Sometimes comfort is just habit. Sometimes comfort is just fear that has learned how to decorate itself. And when you enter that space carrying a different frequency, a different stillness, a different level of self-respect, you disrupt the atmosphere without touching a single person. You do not have to tell people they are living small. They feel it. You do not have to tell people they are hiding. They sense it. You do not have to tell people they are out of alignment. Your presence makes them aware of it. This is why some people grow restless around you. This is why some people become defensive around you. This is why some people suddenly feel the need to explain themselves, justify themselves, prove themselves, perform themselves. You are not attacking them. You are not accusing them. You are not challenging them verbally. Your being is the challenge. Your calm becomes confrontation. Your boundaries become rebellion. Your self-respect becomes intimidation. Your silence becomes pressure. Your peace becomes disturbance. Not because you are doing anything wrong, but because you are doing something rare. You are being real without asking permission. You challenge comfort because you do not participate in emotional chaos. You do not escalate. You do not feed drama. You do not entertain dysfunction. You do not reward manipulation. You do not validate confusion. You do not romanticize suffering. And people who survive through chaos do not know how to feel safe around calm. Chaos feels like home to them. Noise feels like connection. Intensity feels like love. Confusion feels like intimacy. When they meet someone who is regulated, grounded, present, still, it feels foreign. It feels cold. It feels threatening. It feels unfamiliar. Not because it is dangerous, but because it is different from what they know. Your aura challenges comfort because you do not rescue people from themselves. You do not chase people into their wounds. You do not bleed to make others feel held. You do not abandon yourself to save someone else's feelings. You do not confuse empathy with self-erasure. You can care without collapsing. You can love without losing yourself. You can listen without absorbing. You can support without sacrificing your center. This kind of presence changes the rules of every room you enter. Because people are used to relationships built on need, on dependency, on imbalance, on control, on roles, on survival patterns. And when someone arrives who is whole, who is not hungry, who is not desperate, who is not seeking validation, who is not bargaining for worth, the structure of interaction shifts. Power dynamics shift. Control patterns break. Emotional games fail. Manipulation loses its grip. Performance has no audience. Your aura challenges comfort because you are not easy to control. Not because you are rebellious, not because you are aggressive, not because you are confrontational, but because you are anchored. Anchored people are difficult to move. Anchored people are difficult to destabilize. Anchored people are difficult to manipulate. Anchored people are difficult to confuse. You do not need to dominate a room to change it. You just need to be unshakable in yourself. And that unshakability forces others to confront their own instability. Some people will feel exposed in your presence. Some will feel seen in your presence. Some will feel safe in your presence. Some will feel threatened in your presence. The same light does not create the same reaction in every eye. Your aura challenges comfort because you do not seek to belong through conformity. You do not trade authenticity for acceptance. You do not shrink your truth to fit inside fragile egos. You do not dilute your values to keep the peace. You do not perform softness to avoid being misunderstood. You do not perform hardness to be respected. You are neither armor nor mask. You are alignment, and alignment is uncomfortable for environments built on distortion. When a room survives on gossip, your silence disrupts it. When a room survives on ego, your humility unsettles it. When a room survives on chaos, your calm threatens it. When a room survives on pretending, your authenticity exposes it. When a room survives on fear, your presence destabilizes it, not with words, not with actions, not with confrontation, but with being. You do not correct people, you do not lecture people, you do not shame people, you do not diagnose people. You simply exist in truth, and truth shifts gravity. Your aura challenges comfort, because you no longer need validation to feel real. You no longer need applause to feel worthy. You no longer need attention to feel alive. You no longer need approval to feel safe. That kind of independence breaks invisible contracts. It breaks social agreements that say, we will pretend together so we don't have to face ourselves. When you stop pretending, the contract dissolves. And not everyone is ready for that freedom. Some people depend on the collective illusion. Some people depend on shared denial. Some people depend on social performance. Some people depend on emotional theater. Your presence threatens those systems because you are not participating in them. You challenge comfort because you are not easily influenced by moods. You are not pulled into emotional weather. You do not become the storm just because the room is raining. You do not mirror chaos to feel included. You do not adopt dysfunction to feel connected. You remain yourself regardless of the environment. And that kind of stability makes unstable systems uncomfortable, because they cannot move you, because they cannot bend you, because they cannot provoke you, because they cannot use you, because they cannot shape you. Your aura challenges comfort, because you have learned the difference between peace and silence, between rest and numbness, between stillness and suppression. You are not quiet because you are afraid. You are quiet because you are grounded. You are not calm because you are detached. You are calm because you are regulated. You are not still because you are empty. You are still because you are full. That fullness radiates. It fills space. It fills silence. It fills absence. It fills tension. People feel it before they understand it. Your aura challenges comfort because you do not rush. You do not chase. You do not force. You do not pressure. You do not pursue validation. You allow things to reveal themselves. You allow people to show who they are. You allow truth to unfold. You allow silence to speak. You allow time to teach. In a world addicted to speed, urgency, reaction, and impulse, your patience feels disruptive. In a world addicted to noise, your stillness feels loud. In a world addicted to chaos, your order feels threatening. Your aura challenges comfort because you do not live from fear-based identity. You do not define yourself by trauma. You do not define yourself by survival. You do not define yourself by pain. You honor what shaped you, but you do not live inside it. You carry your story without becoming your wound. And that unsettles people who have fused their identity with their suffering. Because healing energy feels unsafe to unhealed systems. Not because healing is dangerous, but because it requires change, and change always threatens comfort. You are not here to destroy comfort. You are not here to shame comfort. You are not here to attack comfort. You are here to reveal what comfort is costing people. Your aura challenges comfort because you embody possibility without preaching it. You show another way of being without selling it. You live a different frequency without advertising it. You demonstrate alignment without branding it. You carry wholeness without announcing it. You do not tell people how to live. You show them that another way exists, and that alone destabilizes old structures. Some will rise toward you. Some will retreat from you. Some will admire you. Some will resist you. Some will misunderstand you. Some will be changed by you, not because you tried, but because presence teaches louder than instruction. Your aura challenges comfort because you are no longer afraid of being misunderstood. You do not explain yourself into exhaustion. You do not perform clarity for confused people. You do not chase perception. You let people see what they are capable of seeing. You let misunderstanding exist without chasing correction. That freedom is disruptive, because many people live imprisoned by perception, by image, by reputation, by approval, by validation. And you have walked out of that cage. You are not easy to categorize, not easy to label, not easy to define, not easy to predict. You do not move from scripts, you move from alignment. And alignment cannot be controlled. Your aura challenges comfort because you hold space without absorbing chaos. You listen without losing yourself. You care without collapsing. You love without disappearing. You connect without merging. You are present without being consumed. That balance is rare, and rarity always disrupts norm, not loudly, not aggressively, not violently, not forcefully. Quietly, gently, deeply, permanently. You do not need to raise your voice to challenge systems that were never built on truth. You do not need to fight structures that are already fragile. You do not need to argue with illusions that collapse on their own. You simply remain aligned, and misalignment exposes itself. You remain whole, and fragmentation reveals itself. You remain calm, and chaos identifies itself. You remain grounded, and instability shows itself. This is the power of an aura that challenges comfort without raising its voice. It does not demand change. It invites awareness. It does not impose transformation. It reveals possibility. It does not force growth. It makes stagnation visible. Your presence becomes a question people cannot ignore. Not a spoken question, not a verbal question, not a direct question, an internal one. Why am I uncomfortable around this person? Why do I feel exposed? Why do I feel defensive? Why do I feel small? Why do I feel restless? Why do I feel seen? Why do I feel safe? Why do I feel challenged? And the answers never lead back to you. They always lead inward. Because the truth is not that your aura is too strong. The truth is that your aura is clear, clear enough to reflect, clear enough to reveal, clear enough to confront illusion, clear enough to disturb comfort, clear enough to awaken awareness, clear enough to destabilize denial, clear enough to challenge stagnation. Not with noise, not with force, not with dominance, not with performance, with presence, with alignment, with authenticity, with stillness, with being. And that kind of power does not need to raise its voice to change the room, because the room feels it the moment you arrive.